Schmidt. I am the Global Head of Client Services at the Branded Entertainment Network, also known as BEN. I am joined by Chris Mancil, the Global Director of Community and Influencer at Electronic Arts, also known as EA. We are so excited to be here today. You know, Chris has been up to so much greatness over at EA as we think about the evolution of influencer marketing and what EA has really done from a trailblazer perspective. At BEN, we are so honored to be their partner through this journey over the last couple of years. So to kick it off, if I can do this correctly, I think we're going to show you a quick reel.
Are you listening? Damn.
Nice! Yeah! If I can't play FIFA at my house, I'm gonna find somewhere I can. Sorry.
Yeah.
So just a quick look at the last year of what we've been up to together. So I think, Chris, as we kind of start this conversation off, how has influencer marketing really evolved within EA over the last year?
So our new passion is not only building relationships with creators and working with them on creative collaborations. Our next journey with them is to onboard the fans from their channels to bring them inside the game. So we do a great job. If you've bought any one of EA's games in the last 4 years, very likely you've engaged with some of our influencer or game changer content. And when you play the game, that relationship sort of ends at the login. And so what we're trying to invest in is how do we extend the experience from the silver screen, from the social media channel into the game. And so EA's next frontier is to how we bring our influencers and those relationships and their audiences into the game and make that resonate inside the product as well as outside. And so that's our next journey.
It is really exciting. So taking that a level further, as we talk about getting influencers into the game, what does that really mean and what does that look like? And how are we looking at that even beyond getting them into the game?
So the first couple executions that we've done the past year, probably from the least complicated to the most complicated, was last year with FIFA. We worked with about a dozen of our top FIFA influencers around the world, and we had them create with a designer of ours to make custom kits, custom uniforms that sort of the color palettes and styles matched their personal brands, and then we put those into the games as unlocks or free content for their fans. So if you followed a top FIFA influencer in Spain, you could get their personal kit and then wear that and show your solidarity with your favorite influencer. That was number one, and we started to get more complicated from there with our NBA game. We actually took 4 of our influencers, suited them up, and actually shot them and then put them inside the game as playable characters. Like you could play with influencers who were in the game, which was really, really neat in some of the practice modes, and that was something we've never done before. And then this last year with Madden, 3 of the actors in the story Longshot, or part 2 of Longshot, were actual influencers from our Game Changers program. And so they actually learned their lines, we gave them acting lessons, they got to participate in a full-on production, and then they were actually imported into the game and were a part of the story experience, which is really amazing. And so after that, where we're trying to get to now is obviously those are very technical, highly polished, very involved integrations. But the one that we're really most very excited about is automation and using smart data to serve up influencer content throughout the game experience. So in Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1, if you're playing the game and suddenly get killed by snipers over and over again, we will automatically serve you up a video in the UI that says, you know, how to live longer in Battlefield. Then that content will be made by one of our top Battlefield creators. And so we have tons of content inside the game that will be served up to our players based on how they actually perform inside the game context. And we think that's the future, is serving up very smart content to trusted sources, to people we know are your fans, and so that they can have that sort of shared hand throughout the journey inside the game.
I think what's so interesting about what you guys are doing is, especially with EA Sports titles, is you're not really using a lot of influencers that have a direct connection to sports, which really talks to the fact that gaming is truly ubiquitous and it's a really exciting moment in time. So how are you guys capitalizing on this, and what do you really think that that means?
Well, I mean, so we spend a lot of time, we actually have our core communities that we know are inside of our products that play our games. But then one step removes, there's the parents or the friends or the households that are familiar with gaming, but also the lifestyle content. So if we look at a franchise like Plants vs. Zombies or Bejeweled or The Sims, it's very cross-functional in the ways that it appeals to lots of different markets: beauty, fashion, style, even sports. And so our sports franchises are very easy because we're very connected to the NFL and our FIFA clubs. But with our normal games, we're trying to reach out into lifestyle and be more relevant to the audiences that consume this type of content. So we're focused on brand creator relationships, but also integrations. We don't want the stories to be about us. We just want to be a small part of the story if it makes sense. And so that's been our approach for the last several years.
It's such a great way to connect to your community. And as you think about that and everything you guys are up to, how are audiences reacting to these evolutions?
Well, we heard Fullscreen say it just a minute ago, like Generation C and Z, I mean, these creators are their friends. And and they're very picky about who they partner with. And so for us, we've taken a broad approach, which is when you partner with EA or creators partner with us, it's for the long term. And we're very invested in training them and giving them a long-term pathway to work with us long term. And we give them a wide latitude of flexibility to tell the stories that they want to tell. As long as we give them a foundation and backdrop of our games, they can do whatever they want within reason. But we give them a lot of flexibility, and their audiences really resonate because the creators that we work with do enjoy our products, and then that can't really be faked online because audiences are really keen on detecting authentic content.
Authenticity is always key. Our CEO tells us all the time. And I think that's a measurement of success right there. But how do you truly measure success on what you're up to?
So it's funny, another measurement conversation, but we are very heavily still exploring the right formulas, and it changes year after year. I mean, but for the most part, we have different ROI measurements, but we look obviously at views. I think we've probably generated close to 600 million views this year on our content, but also the number of assets that we create. So we've done about 5,000 assets year to date through all of our partnerships. And for us with EA spends a lot of manpower and capital on building our official source of truth assets, which are extremely high quality, take a long time to make. And there's a very limited bandwidth on how many we can produce. So we leverage a lot of our creator relationships to expand the amount of story and content that we can put out within certain parameters. And so for us, it's not only about the views that we're getting, it's also about the number of assets we're creating, the number of stories that we're telling, and do those stories matter? So even this year, we started working with our influencer partners to create stuff that you wouldn't think an influencer would do, like how to change your password or how to get help in a game or how to, buy currency. So they're not really high performing content, but we've made relationships so that our creators are building not only content from the top of the funnel, but content from the bottom of the funnel as well. So they're becoming more of a content production resource for us globally than just a sales tool. They're very much becoming a life cycle marketing tool and retention tool for EA as well.
It's really incredible to watch the scale of what you guys have been able to accomplish over the last year. I think as we think about brands who haven't really gotten involved in influencer marketing, do you have any advice for them kind of getting into this world?
I would say it's less,
question.
well, last year I would have said it's the Wild West, but I don't think that's true anymore. I think now a lot of creators, there is a sort of defined business model, and my first instinct would be is to look for those influencers or creators that have an affinity for your products. I mean, they're out there. Either they've played it or they've tried it, or they feel like they're a good fit for your target audience, and then reach out and build a relationship. So for us, we only work with influencers if it makes sense and they actually like our company and like our products. And then we just see if we can find win-win solutions. So I would say, first of all, stay away from really high-priced agents. Try to find someone with experience in the space. It's very easy to get ripped off or to get people that have bad history. I think brand security is something that's first and foremost a big priority for us, to make sure that the influencer you work with doesn't have a checkered past or has said things that are inflammatory online. So do your due diligence. Have great contracts. Make sure you do follow proper disclosure. And in general, find ways to have fun. Trust influencers that you can work with to tell a story that may make you feel uncomfortable, but let them tell it in their own voice. I think what I've seen some companies do, they want to treat it like an agency relationship with an RFP and a very detailed list of things that they have to hit upon, and they create stories that are inauthentic and just land flat. The real magic of finding a creator you feel has an affinity for your brand is to let them experiment, innovate, and tell the story they want to tell that will connect with their audience. Because at the end of the day, for us, we're having a harder time with traditional advertising connecting with our consumer, but these closed networks of audiences, because they love, these are their friends, these closed networks are hard for us to reach, and if we can build a great relationships with these prophets, if you will, that they will guide us on how to tell the best story to their audience. And if we give them the freedom to do that, usually it works out really well. And so not only do we work with them on a campaign basis, but we work with them year long, just as players of our game. So they're VIPs, like, hey, can I get a couple copies for Christmas for my kids? Or, hey, we want to try out this new game. Like, we're very flexible about treating them as part of the team. And so that relationship that we have with creators translates very well to the performance we see on the back end.
Authenticity is so key, and it really truly delivers the best results when the creator is passionate about the brand. So again, we've done a lot of great work this year, and the future is so bright. And Ben, we're investing in so much technology that will lead to growth in influencer marketing. Where do you see this industry going, and what do you think is next for this industry?
I saw a slide earlier today. 8 million creators now. So the biggest challenge that we have is the coming content wars with all the segregation in content for the different studios. And so the platforms are becoming more of a restrictive partner. They're taking larger and larger shares of profit and revenue from the creators. More and more people. I think if you have a 6 or 5 or 7-year-old, they're probably on YouTube and want to be a streamer or a YouTuber. So as more and more talent gets into the funnel, it's going to be harder to find quality creators, and then the price differentials are very big. So the future of this is to find the diamonds in the rough that can tell a great story that you can help grow as a creator, and connect with a more diverse audience, frankly, because there's so many creators, so many platforms, so many channels, that it's easy to get your message sort of lost in the wind. And so by building alliances with people that are kind of already close to your brand, I think that's where you plant seeds and grow for the long term. Because I don't know how it's going to end up, frankly.
Yeah, it is an exciting time for all of us. I think as platforms evolve and technology increases, there's so much opportunity, and it's just about getting better performance and delivering the right partnerships. So we have a couple of minutes left, and we'd love to open the floor for questions if anybody has any. Silence. It's deadly. Yes.
Chris, can you give us an example of a campaign that you've worked on where you scanned the influencers in? I know we saw a couple in that reel, but do you have any examples of your favorite where you scanned the creators in?
Well, that would be, certainly NBA would have been a great one, where we built a rig that was a 360 camera rig with a bunch of DSLR cameras, so we could photo completely around them. And so that was very hard. It was very detailed shots, but we were able to take those photographs and then import them into our engines, and then render them pretty accurately inside the game. And then having them do basketball moves and stuff like that. So actually seeing an influencer go from a picture in a chair just like this into doing dunks on a basketball court was something that's like movie magic. It's like something we've always dreamed about doing, and then we're able to do it. I think that's really cool. And I'd like to see more stuff like that, because with video games and like any interactive entertainment, there's an opportunity for us to explore new boundaries with talent and get them more engaged with the stories that we're telling officially. But if we can share a part of that storyline with our creators and their fans, I think that's going to be an uncharted territory for brands, and I think an important part of our future.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for your time. Thank you, Chris, for joining me up here.